just makes him look like a rag doll with a stiff arm and runs it all the way in for a Musketeer touchdown.
And it's a touchdown, Red Bud!
What a catch!
It's a big defensive stop by the Musketeers.
Huge play.
Welcome to Red Bud, baby.
Red Bud Industries is a third-generation company located in Red Bud, Illinois. It is a fast-paced, innovative company recognized worldwide as an industry leader in coil processing.
The really neat thing about working at Red Bud Industries is the way that it impacts so many people's daily lives. We are building equipment that slits steel, cuts steel into pieces, and is then provided to original equipment manufacturers. So really, on a daily basis, you could be interacting with some form of steel that has been cut from a machine that we've built. It's really neat stuff.
My favorite part about working at Red Bud Industries is the family atmosphere. From the competitive wages to the excellent insurance and benefits, all the way down to the team building events. They just make me and my wife and my children feel right at home.
I feel like I can come to management if I have an issue. I feel like I can present my ideas and feel like I'm being heard and see those ideas either come to fruition or, at the very least, progress be made.
I think the team here at Red Bud Industries is top of the line. I've worked several other places and they just don't compare to the group of people here at Red Bud.
You can genuinely see that everybody wants the company to excel.
There's always someone there to help me. I can look on my left or my right, and if the guy next to me can't help me, he will go to the next guy, and someone's there to help me out.
I feel so blessed to have been able to find something so close to home. The community itself, everyone is really involved, and it's a great place to live and work.
They recognize the potential in everyone and put you where you fit best.
If you're interested in a lifelong career at Red Bud Industries, please go to our website for more information or to apply.
It is a beautiful night downtown Red Bud, Illinois, where the Roxana Shells are in town to take on your host, the Red Bud Musketeers, on what's sure to be an exciting matchup of Friday night football in downtown Red Bud. Chris Merring here with you. Tim Conway sitting to my left. Ben Koopman, Oak 9 Productions. Excited to bring this one to you live. Red Bud football team down on the field. Both teams actually down on the field right now, warming up. Roxana getting off the bus. Quite a few kids on their roster and looks to be a pretty decent-sized offensive line. Tim, we mentioned a little bit last week how tough of a challenge this hill is to climb with a tough Roxana defense, or a tough Roxana team that went deep into the playoffs last year. What's your thoughts for tonight?
It is going to be a real tough one. I think it was 2 years ago, probably one of the better games we called.
Yeah,
it was a really tight win against Red Bud. And if I remember correctly, Chris, Roxana had, 3-4 turnovers that game? So I think that's going to be the story of the game, too. See if we can cause that offense to turn the ball over. That wing tee that we saw last week is going to be a little bit tougher. They got some really good players. I think we got some inside number 3, number 20 from the Roxana Shells. They're going to be really good at getting that ball and trying to get it outside. And they lost a close one to Jerseyville last week, so you know they're hungry for their first W of the year.
Absolutely, and as you mentioned, the wing tee coming out tonight, the double wing, which we talk a lot down on. This is going to be a completely different double wing than we seen last week against Pinckneyville. They're going to come out firing. They got a great offensive line. They got the athletes to run that sort of offense.
Yep.
And like you had mentioned, Tim, disciplined football is going to win this game tonight. Last year, penalties killed Roxana in the earlier part of the season. Red Bud plays a good, clean, disciplined football game here tonight. No offsides, no stupid penalties. They can be able to capitalize, get out, score early. I think Red Bud scores first tonight. If Red Bud can get on the board here first tonight, that's going to give them the tempo that they need to be able to propel and win to the end of the game and win this thing.
Yeah, and I think one of the keys to the game is what we saw a little bit last week in stopping that fullback dive. When you stop that dive, your kind of outside backers can kind of stay home a little bit more and stop those sweeps or stop those reverse. We saw Red Bud get burnt twice, once on a reverse and once by a sweep for the only 2 touchdowns for Pinckneyville last week. So if we can block that inside dive, and then we're able to contain those outsides, because if those dives going for 5-6 yards, next thing you know, backers dive in, and then the outside sweeps are going to be right there for the picking.
And while you're talking defense, Red Bud defense, Tim, I want to bring up, I think we're going to see a little bit different defensive scheme come out of Red Bud tonight.
Oh, is that right?
I'm thinking they're going to run more of like that traditional 3-5 that Red Bud's been running so long. Go back to the normal cover 3. Use that walk down safety a little bit to get around and stop the inside run. Yeah. Roxana's going to be really difficult running the ball up the middle. You know, we got big Lucas Schwarzkopf right there, so predominant player of the game last week.
Sure.
You know, we saw his offensive highlights online that Ben so generously put out there.
Yeah, that was cool.
But let's talk about his defense. You know, that was just half of it. He had an incredible defensive game, shut down the middle run. Will he be able to do the same tonight against a lot bigger offensive line?
Yeah, it's a little bit cooler night, like you mentioned, so hopeful that these boys aren't cramping as much as they were last week.
Talking to the coach and / his father before the game, and let me tell you that he's been on the liquid IVs. He's been on the pickle juice. He's been doubling up on everything that he can right now. Oh, yeah. So he's in. He took the hint last week. I think we were talking a little bit of trash on him cramping up, but, boy, it was a completely different night here just 7 days ago.
We give him hell, but you see how important he is, as you can see the captains out there. You know how important he is out for that defense. When he's out there, that middle is a different kind of game. That fullback dive,
locked down.
Yeah, that fullback dive is not going to work with Schwarzkopf in the middle. He can sniff those out.
Yeah, and watch the fake game here. That's what the double wing offense is kind of based around: running fakes, running misdirection plays, running counters out of it. So stay at home defensively, do your jobs, fill your gaps. Red Bud can come out of this thing on top.
There's one thing I would hate to critique. We're picking at little things, as obviously Red Bud played a really good game last week, but the cornerbacks, being a former cornerback, you got to get off those blocks and you got to help those linebackers crash in and make those plays. So looking for Sternberg, looking for Manning, to get off those blocks and really help starting safety. I think Baldwin was out there too. So get off those blocks and help out those backers when you can. Yeah, especially for a team that's not going to throw the ball very much.
Yeah, absolutely. And then offensively, the side of the ball for Red Bud, Dylan Oliver, again, obviously getting the start tonight. We saw a lot of good progress from him from last year to week 1 of this year. Being really patient in the pocket, stepping up, making the right call, making the correct reads. I think something to work on for Oliver, making the right reads in that zone read offense, when to pull it.
Yeah.
Keep it in your ball carrier's hand, in your belly, just a little bit longer. Get a good read off that defensive end, because that's where we can capitalize on him taking the ball around the corner and getting positive yards.
I know we called it a couple times in the booth last week about how patient he was, but looking back at that throw to Schwarzkopf, man, what a dime.
What a dime.
I agree with you. He seems a little more patient. He seems a little more poised. Realizes if it isn't there, he can wait if he's got the protection, which is key. The line's going to have to give him time. And if it's not there, tuck it and scramble. Get the 5-10 yards that he can get.
That's right. And it looks like Roxana won the coin toss. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. Red Bud won the coin toss and elected to defer. So Roxana will receive and facing the clock, boy. Risky move facing the clock in the first quarter with the sun in your eyes.
Yeah.
That's going to take away the clock from them in the second quarter.
Yeah, and we've got the kicker Kester who has a boot. I think he
does, man.
I think he posted online that his PR is a 48. So that field goal that we were questioning if he could have went.
Let's not rule out the easy 3 points if he can kick 48 yarders, right?
Yeah, we didn't get a chance to ask the coaches with obviously the lightning strike ending the game early. Most of them were in the locker room, but it would have been interesting to see if they thought about it or if they were just thinking, no, we're confident in our offense. And
let's not hide the fact that a 48-yarder during practice is completely different than a 48-yarder on Friday night when the lights are on. So
a little different, for sure. Oh, it's starting to get a little cooler. Feels like Friday night, doesn't it?
It does, and football is in the air.
Baldwin had a good game last week. I think I saw in the North County News. He had about 87 on 13 carries, so really efficient for him. Schwarzkopf didn't have a lot of action, but when he did, obviously he was in the end zone.
Capitalized, yeah.
Yeah, got to make sure he's out there as much as he can. Love to see him not cramping. Manning was cramping last week. Colt Hess was hurt a little, but I think he said he's back in. But we'll get to the injury report later. We're going to
take a quick break. Both teams are leaving the field, getting their final pregame preparations underway. We look forward to kickoff, and we'll be right back.